Hello, I hope I'm in focus. I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm recording from my iPad in the living room, but I have it flipped around and doing weird things. My husband is in the office this weekend. The game he plays, Path of Exile, it is their weekend quarterly release. So it's like a new season, and he's been playing off and on and all that cool stuff. He took a day off from work on Friday to play, and he's been doing other stuff for us, but I figured I can record out here. You can see my Christmas stockings, and that I could catch up with you all because it's been a while. I actually recorded a podcast that I never even posted because I've been sick for like a billion years. So I've done a lot of traveling. I actually did a knit in public with a new knitting friend, and traveled a bunch, worked on a bunch. I'm gonna get out of frame in a second because I left my knitting bag on the other side of the couch. So I thought I'd start with works in progress. So give me 1 second, I'll be right back. Forgot my bag. So if you've watched the podcast before, you know that I am knitting Christmas sweaters for my son. Well, his was already done, but for my niece and my nephew and my friends' kids. So 4 Christmas sweaters total. And I don't know what I was thinking. Please don't ever let me do it again. But I am working on Ellie's sweater. Hers is the last, so I saved the best for last. So this is about where I am on hers. She is a very petite girl, and this is superwash. It's going to block a little bit whiter. And my sister told me that Ellie would wear it more if it was a sweater dress as opposed to just a sweater. So I'm going to need to figure out how long I need to knit it for a sweater dress for a 4-year-old. So I'll probably go to Target and take my tape measure and measure a sweater dress there. But I'm on the first ball of yarn. This is how much I have left. I've knit, I was about here this morning when I started, and that's how far I've gotten today. The only really good thing about this is sweater number 5 for me. So Evans was number 1, and then I knit James and Matthew's. We're both blue. And then I knit Ethan's. Ethan's is orange. And now Ellie's is purple. Is that the only good thing is I now have this mock cable pattern memorized. I don't need to look at the pattern anymore. So her sweater's actually going pretty fast. And I'm not actually worried about getting it to tunic length for her, because I'm thinking maybe just like I don't want her too long. She's gonna wear leggings with it. But you know, maybe like just past the booty on her and stuff. I'm thinking when I finish this ball of yarn, what I will do is I will probably take a break, do the sleeves, and then knit down. So on the weird off chance that I am not completed before I fly out to visit them in San Antonio, it'll be a super quick finish, and I can have her try it on, and the sleeves will be on, and everything will be done except for maybe the bottom ribbing, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be done with all of that. But that's where I am on this. The only other thing, and then I have Ethan's orange sweater. I'm not going to go up and grab it. It looks exactly the same as the blue sweaters that I've shown before. It looks the same as the green sweater. It looks exactly the same as this one, except that it's orange. I'm not going to show it because I really don't want to get up and get out of screen again. But so that's what I've been working on, is those sweaters. And then I did start a mindless project. So that was my number 1 problem before I memorized the lace, is I didn't have a mindless project, something I could knit on at a friend's house when the boys were playing or whatever. So I have started this. I actually really love this. This is the Changing Staircase shawl, and it's all mine. I didn't swatch for it. It's a freaking shawl. I don't particularly care. It's going to be a big old spiral. The yarn itself is Babbling Beverage by Loft Twentytwo, because I love me some Harry Potter. And in November, I did go to I went to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at Universal on my Florida trip. But I took this yarn with me, but I was in the middle of Ethan's sweater, so I didn't even work on this. But this is I've done at home. This is actually a really easy pattern, which is why I really like it. So it's 10 rows of stockinette, and then 10 rows of this eyelet lace, and on a wrong side row you bind off a set a number of stitches, which gives you this staircasing, which will probably look even better after I blocked it out. So this is my mindless knit. Oh, and I really like this roll edge. So it's really hard to see. It almost looks like I-cord, but it's just the edge is rolled because of where the increases are happening, because obviously they're happening at the same time in every place, but they're making the edge roll. So I'm probably not going to block that roll out. So I'm going to let it keep rolling when I do it, because I really like the way that edge feels. So that's what I've been working on for me when I get a chance, which is not very often. I have it here in my chicken boots little keeper. It's nice. I mean, I could knit and walk and hold this if I really wanted, right? Because I could keep it on my wrist. Hopefully everything's in frame since I can't see the screen. But I can't shove my project in there, and that's kind of a huge problem for me. So I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about this keeper. I'll try it out for socks too, and we'll talk about socks in a second. So those are the things I've been working on, which equals nothing but Christmas knitting. When I finish Ellie's sweater, I have one hat that I need to do. If I'm feeling super ridiculously ambitious, I might finish 2 more, but odds are not good. I just found out that my brother and his girlfriend will be joining us in San Antonio when I go to visit my sister's family the day after Christmas. I just found out he's going, and if I was super ambitious, I would knit a hat for him and his girlfriend, but I know what yarn I would want to use. They're both hunters, and I have some foresty variegated koigu that I've had for freaking years and years and years that I would use to make them matching hats. But that's sock weight, and I would not finish at this rate the way things are going. So that is why I probably won't. But everybody else in that house will get something. So I have obviously my sister's and my mom's presents, and the last hat is for my brother-in-law, so that he can have a hat too. And sorry, we're in with the living room with the dog, and the dog doesn't like it when, hey, no thank you. Yeah, nobody wants it. Here's Pocket. Nobody likes to hear a barking dog on a podcast, bud. People are allowed to be outside. Yeah, he doesn't like when people come through the house and stuff. Or not through the house, but in the neighborhood. So then, other than that, I have, which also why I haven't been podcasting, it's like, who wants to see that same sweater 4 times in a row, honestly. I do have some yarn that I bought. So I really like Loft 22. So I got this yarn. She was doing a benefit for Hooker's Corner, and I went to college up in Chico, and Chico is the next biggest town outside of Paradise. And so while I personally have never been up to Paradise, I actually have a friend whose parents live in Paradise and whose sister lived in Paradise, and they've lost their whole houses and stuff. So that fire really did hit close to home. I live down in Sacramento. Our schools were closed for a couple days because it was pretty much the worst. It was worse probably because it was closer than the car fire earlier this year, and that one hit close to home because my in-laws live up in Redding, and the car fire was up around Whiskeytown Lake. So I would love it if my state would stop being on fire. But it is what it is. That's why we always need rain. We always need water. We were really lucky. It rained, I think, last week. It pulled everything out of the air. I know that fire's contained now. I'm not sure if it's out because I don't follow the news super, super closely about the particulars of the fire. But when I saw that Loft 22 that Rhonda had was running a deal, or not a deal, but where she was donating all proceeds to Hooker's Corner, I said, well, I like yarn, I might as well get it. So this is Stepping Stones. I really like the colors. I'm gonna make a hat out of it. This is her DK base. I really like it. I really love these gold and that gray. I'm not sure what hat I'm gonna knit. I might have enough for 2 hats, I'm not sure. Maybe, or a hat and tiny mitts, but I'm pretty excited about that. And I also picked up my first mini skein because I'm a huge fan of that. And I think this one is hot tea, or I don't know. I'll have to look. I don't really remember, but I really like just the mix of all of the colors, the greens and the gold and the purples, they're all in there. I'm sure I'm gonna love it even more caked up because I love a caked yarn. I'm not sure what I'm gonna use it for. I'm thinking probably ready to start my scrappy blanket next year. I'm not sure what that blanket's gonna look like yet, but it's where I am. Figured out the blanket. I also have yarn out in the garage that I just it hasn't even made it into the house yet. But I did buy the yarn for the Hue Shift Cart Afghan from Knit Picks. So I do have that in the garage that I want to knit in next year too. And then I bought my Christmas sock yarn. So I think you all know I love Mudpunch. And I'm very excited for Chantel. She did just get married. They posted it on Facebook a couple days ago. I'm sorry, not Facebook, Instagram. And I had to withhold myself from buying her wedding colorway because I don't need more yarn. But I love this. So this is her Christmas colorway. It's red, green, jolly. It's a 6 stripe. It's my plan is plain vanilla socks from the toe up, going as high as they can, so I won't have any leftovers. And I'm really looking forward to it. I know, I'm so sorry. I keep looking down. It's so hard. I keep looking at what's in my hands. But I really am looking forward to working with this yarn. Obviously, I love her yarn. Being able to cast on for these socks is like saying, hey, I'm done with Christmas knitting for others. Now I can Christmas knit for myself. So I'm looking really forward to it. And I'm thinking these are gonna be like super sweet, like really high ones, which is why I'm gonna start toe up so I can use every last bit. So I'm pretty excited about that. I just got that. And then I have already gotten, oh man, you stuck to the bag, my Black Friday shopping. So last year, just to give you some time, like last year I did Jimmy Bean's wool washers all day, all weekend. I bought a lot of yarn. Not a lot, a couple, maybe 6 skeins of yarn. And I've used all but one, or I've started with all but one. I knit a hat out of, my mom's hat was out of yarn that I got. My sister's hat was out of yarn that I got. I started a sweater out of a Malabrigo lace weight that sweater went on hold because I only started it because I hadn't gotten the yarn yet for my beekeeper. I knit a hat out of Lorna's Laces that was too small for me. It was a sockhead slouch hat, and I knit it on 2 small needles. So it doesn't quite fit, but my son wears it, so that's fine. And then I have 1 more skein of Lorna's Laces left from last year. So this year I decided I wasn't going to just buy random skeins, but I did talk to a friend, and we were talking about banging out a sweater in February. So I did, I don't have that book, I'm so sorry. I'm going to talk about the MDK field guides in a little bit because I did buy one. But we talked about banging out a sweater in February with Mason Dixon, and I decided to splurge on some Lolodidit because I had never had any. So this year I just splurged on 1 sweater's quantity worth. So I got 7 skeins of this color. This is her Summer's Nights base, or Summer's Nights colorway, and it's her Simple DK base. I'm not sure how great the color is showing up in here in this lighting because I've got low lighting in the living room, but it's like a deep plummy purple with tonal. It's gonna look really great. I haven't decided how long my sleeves are gonna be because I'm gonna knit, I think, the button-up cardigan from the Revolution field guide, which I absolutely adore. So let me tell you, total tangent side note, I went to school when I went to Chico State. I have an English degree, which is super useful. But actually, it is really useful. So I work in IT. I work in kind of management. I work for a small MSP here in town, and I wear a lot of hats. And one of my hats is actually to pretty much write or edit all of our client-facing documents. If somebody has to write an email that's going to our entire client base, I usually fix it. And this last couple weeks, I've had to help actually a rival MSP because Sacramento's not a giant town. We have a big, we share a lot of stuff. And so my boss said, hey, Lisa, we'll help you with that if you need help on some terminology. So I helped one of our rival MSPs write, and we while we're both MSPs, he does that. Their MSP does cater to a different client base. They do a different thing. So, but they had this issue and they had to write it to their clients and all this stuff. And so I got to spend a good fair amount of time editing, and it reminded me how much I miss it because that's what I went to school for. My English program, while I have a regular English degree, my program was literary editing and publishing. My internship was to design and create a small chapbook to work with our in-house publishing. So essentially I interned for our small publisher on campus, and I did the layouts work and typography work for a poetry book. Is it poetry? I'd have to check. I also did our lit magazine the semester after I was an editor on the lit magazine. The next semester I did the layout and design and worked with the class for them to pick what, I presented them options and stuff. So it just reminded me, between doing that work, that editing work, and really that back and forth and that discussion of, because I'm not a copy editor. I only got a B in grammar. Grammar's not my super strong point, but I am really good with copy. I am really good with content editing and figuring out what exactly you're trying to say and the best way to say it and how to still make it your own tone of voice. So so sometimes I'll give direction back in a Word document. Well, you need to do this, this, and this here. And they'll be like, well, can you write it? No, you have to start it. You have to tell me how you think about this and how you want to do whatever it is that I've told you that you need to add into this thing. And then I can fix it for you and make it sound the best you it is. But I need to know what you would have talked about first. So between doing that, which was fun but a lot of work, to the point that I joked with the other owner that I hope this never happens to you again, that we have to, that you need to write this kind of a document, but if it happens, I'm charging you. I'm charging you for my time, and it's going to be the same hourly rate as our text. So there was that side, but then also I got the field guide. And I know ebooks are so popular, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I love them. I got the ebook too, but I splurged because it was like $13 for the ebook or $15 for the field guide with the PDF copy, and I was ordering something else at the same time. So I got the field guide and I got it, and I'm looking at it, and it didn't even occur to me that you could do those for knitters or in our thing, because I mean, that field guide, it's a chapbook. It's exactly what I did when I went to school. I mean, I still have them on the shelf. I have a little design portfolio if people wanted to see my layout, my design, and my editing, and here's what I could do. So for me, seeing that little chapbook, it was like, oh, I want to do this again. I want to do something, and I don't know. I've been thinking about stuff. I'm not a big editor or a big pattern writer. I don't know if I have time to pick up another thing, but it just reminded me, I love that book to the point that I wanted to get all the rest of them. And Revolution was the first one that I was like, oh, I want those patterns. I want all of it. I want all 4 of those things. I want those cables. I want to make that. And the other 8 hadn't really spoken to me that way. But once I saw that one book, I was like, oh, I need all of them. I need my little shelf full. I forgot what it was like. I forgot the amazingness that is the chapbook, and that is that book format and that tiny format. And if you're out there and you want to work with me, we can make this show happen, because I forgot how good it was. So so that's where I am these days. For the end of the year, it's 3 weeks till Christmas. Like I said, I have 1 sweater left and a hat to go. I look forward to casting on my selfish knitting. We are going to San Antonio, so lots of airplane knitting. You can see, here's my homemade Christmas stockings behind us. But hopefully I will talk to you all before the new year and we can talk about sweaters. So thanks for sticking with me. Sorry for the big break, and I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks.